This is where business ideas and passions turn into profit. Whether you're dreaming of becoming your own boss but don't know how to get started, or have already started a side hustle and wish to grow it exponentially, your host, Victoria Wieck, can help you turn your passion-based business ideas into profit. Welcome to Million Dollar Passion. Here is your host, world-renowned jewelry designer and home shopping TV celebrity, Victoria Wieck.
Welcome to another episode of Million Dollar Passion. I just love coming here every week, sharing with you some amazing stories of great entrepreneurs, but more than that, amazing stories about great entrepreneurs who now are in position to help other people and just kind of help you collapse time, help you, get funding, all those things that small business people want. As you know, the top two reasons why people go out of business is that number one reason is lack of money, and number two reason is lack of customers. And there's a bunch of other reasons too, which we're not going to get into. But what I want to tell you is today we have someone who can help us with both of those fronts. His name is Bimal Shah. And he's an expert in helping you scale your business. He scaled his own business, which is in the financial sector. And now he helps entrepreneurs to sort of like help you achieve your, not your just goal, 1 year goal, but the 3-year goal and collapse it into 1 year. So before I suck up all the time here, I want to welcome Bimal and have him introduce himself a little bit about his journey and about himself and what drives his passion. So welcome to the show.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Victoria, for having me here. And thank you to all the guests for tuning in. I really appreciate the opportunity. My passion has been making 1 million entrepreneurs and converting and transforming them into pioneers. So my goal is to make 1 million pioneers in the world before I die. And by helping them scale to the next level, taking their big picture 25-year vision, converting into 5-year moonshot, and then taking their 3 to 5 year goal in 1 year. And I built a lot of resources. I've written a full 13-book series, Becoming a Pioneer, that was launched. The first one was launched on Amazon, was #1 new release. So that's it.
Thank you so much for sharing that. I will tell you, for those over here listening, that I myself have written 2 books, and I have to tell you that unless you're like really crazy or you just don't understand how money works, writing a book it's a low ROI kind of a proposition, right? You like you and I, we can all go out and make a lot more money doing other things if you have skills than writing a book and getting like $9 or whatever a copy. And if you're publishing it through a publisher, it's like you get like $1 a copy. But those of you who are writing books, or authors like Bimal who write, you do it because you love it. You do it because you want to help other people. You do it even though you've got to give your heart and soul. Every word has to mean something. So thank you for sharing that. It's the first book is Becoming a Pioneer, and that's on Amazon, right?
Right.
Okay, so that's on Amazon. He's got 13 other books. But before we get to that, I do want to talk about before we even get to scaling. Okay, let's say before we get into scaling, and we're going to talk about scaling because that is your expertise. But a lot of small business people, do you think that they don't have the expertise, or they don't know just setting goals? Like, yes, if you ask a lot of people, like, what are your goals? That they can either tell you, oh, my goal is make $1 million, or my goal is to whatever. And some of them might say, my goal is to, get 300 new customers this year. But they really don't have a clear picture of their 25-year goal versus what you can achieve in the next 5 years versus what you can achieve the next measurable goal. So let's talk about the goal setting in the first place. Like how should they start? I mean, and I sadly, a lot of people I meet don't actually even have goals because they don't think the goals will come true.
Absolutely. So that is one of the biggest things that I see in entrepreneurs is setting goals. And that's one of the reasons, 99.7% of the businesses are small business. And it's sad to hear that even 80% of them fail after 15 years in the business. So goal setting is so important. So the very first thing in setting a 25-year goal, and I always say, don't set a goal that I want to make $1 million, I want to make $1 billion. Think about the impact, the transformation that you want to bring. think about the problem that you want to solve. And for me, like when I said it, I was passionate about making pioneers. Like, I want to do this. I'm committed to making 1 million pioneers, however long it takes. And that was my passion. So similarly, in your business, think about the passion that you have and what transformation you want to bring to the table, and make that as your vision and you go. I'll tell you, a quick story on $1 billion company that was built just on that. And that is from Naveen Jain, who made chronic illness. His passion was making chronic illness a choice. And he founded the Viome, the test and that we do. So that is where we start. And we start with a 25-year goal on, what is your character vision, bring it down to a moonshot. I have a very specific question. And the first book is just about that. The first book on Amazon is just about that.
Yeah. So now let me go back to the word scaling. I know that I don't want to offend anybody. I don't want to be insulting to anybody, but I'm going to define the word scaling a little bit, because and there's so much confusion in the business coaching, business world about what the word scaling means. So scaling doesn't necessarily mean that you're growing exponentially. Basically, yeah, you can grow exponentially if you're willing to put in $5 million a year into your business. But properly scaling in a small business environment means that you're not having to spend, exorbitant amount of resources to grow. If you're putting in everything you've got and you're banking every single penny you make back into the business, and you're getting, you're facing a diminished rate of return, but you're still growing, that is not scaling. Scaling means you're actually putting in less resources, less amount of time, because you got all the right systems in place, and you're basically taking something that's working and scaling this up. So would you not agree with that, Bimal?
Absolutely, 100%. I can tell you a quick story on that as well.
Okay, so I just want to make sure that we understand that when you follow Bimal's system, and you can see a lot of the things that he's got a whole platform, he's got a dashboard for you, he's got monthly workshops, all these things are going on. It's and before I forget, I'm just going to blurt this out. It's bit.ly, so bit.ly /The Pioneers Club. So it's http bit.ly /The Pioneers Club, and T and P and C are capitalized. So you can go and follow more about this. But in terms of scaling, I think that I say this because a lot of people who are coaching scaling, you go into a mastermind program, you go into their workshops or whatever, and their whole goal is to sell you more services so that you can get more business. What that means is you're actually spending more money in all the wrong places to grow just a little bit more than what you had before. That is not what we're talking about here. So tell us a little bit about, you specifically said that you're going to take their 3-year goal. So what if you said, oh, this year I want to do, let's say I'm going to hit $1 million mark, and next year I want to do $1.2 million, and the following year I want to do $1.5 million. You're saying that you can take that 3-year goal and have it accomplished in 1 year.
Right.
So tell me how you go ahead and do that, how you help people.
I'll tell you a quick story so you can get the idea. So one of the companies we wanted to scale, 10 times. They were a 5 million company, and says, we want to bring it down to grow it to 50 million company, but we don't want to grow 10 times in our staff. We don't want to grow 10 times in our expenses as we grow that. How do we build a lean company and grow that big? So what we did is we started with the dream come true profit and loss statement. So we build their financials of the future. And that's where I start. So even with the company who says, okay, I want to take this $1 million to $3 million, we'll build that $3 million P&L statement. And I can tell you another company we did with a home healthcare company, and all we needed to do was add just 2 more people to grow 3 more times. Right. And that is structuring their responsibilities, building the organization chart of the future, and building clear responsibilities and outcomes, and building the right target. Like you said in the beginning, it's the lack of customers and lack of money. So if you're after the right customers, it will take less time and less resources on your part, and you will make 3 to 5 times more for the same effort, or even 10 times more. And that's, that's chasing and going after the right people. And that's what we did. We built the right relationship, right strategic alliances. We did that even with the law firm, and build them a whole list of public adjusters that they would make more than $500,000. So that's one of the things, you start off with.
Yeah. So when you said you can grow 3 times as much with just hiring 2 people, I want to qualify that as two right people,
Absolutely.
not just to
Absolutely.
anybody, right? So, and that takes skill, because the other thing I'll say is like small business people really have, they can use a lot of help in finding the right people. And also, because a lot of small business people think that since they're doing everything, since they're wearing all these hats, they're the CEO, they're the CPA, they're the lawyer, they're doing everything, right? They're meeting customers, they're meeting vendors, they're shipping, they're doing everything, that they're going to need to hire somebody who's more like you. Well, no, you don't want that, because no one's going to work that hard for you for little money. I would say that you're probably better off hiring some people that you are not good at, or let's say, like, I hate to sell. Like, I don't like to sell. I'm not a pushy person. I hate, if I send them a nice polite email, I think that people should send a nice polite email back to you rather than me having to keep nudging them. So I'm not good at that. So what do? If you hire somebody just like you, you got two of you just waiting for the email to show up, and it's not going to happen. You're better off hiring somebody whose expertise is that. You may not like people that are pushy, but you need a pushy person for you. You know what I mean? So, so I think that I'm just using that as an example. A lot of people don't know how to hire people. And then when they hire them, they don't know how to manage them because they haven't set out a clear vision. They haven't set out what their clear responsibilities are, what their boundaries are, what their expectations are. So how do you have help on your Bitly site on all of those, or how do you?
Right. So I will share a three-step structure on how to hire right. Okay. So one of the things we do is we divide your hiring into three different units: before unit, during unit, and after unit. So before unit is how you attract your dream come true employee to come to you. And I have my business website, the company website is the oneyearbreakthrough.com. And on that, there is on how to build talents and how to attract talent. And there is a link there, my dream employee, bit.ly// my dream employee. And one of the things I always tell every company, ditch the title. Whenever you want to hire someone, get rid of the title, because the title boxes and limits the employee's capability that you want to hire. And I have a whole system that I built that many entrepreneurs can utilize it for free. And they can go on bit.ly/ my dream employee. And there's a 6-stage questionnaire that allows you to build your dream come true employee profile. And even if you don't, let's say, work with me or utilize me, just going through that profile and getting the information back to you, you know exactly who you want.
Yeah, yeah, it's interesting because what you're saying is hire the person and not the tasks, right? So
Yes.
I think it's really interesting because one of the things that people will ask me, for example, like when they ask me about like my own journey, I have the same issue. Like when it comes to hiring people, growing their employees, it's a whole art by itself. And a lot of people tell me, "Oh my God, Victoria, but when you started back in 1989, things were so much simpler, and it's just so much harder these days." And I'm like, no, things were a lot harder back those days, because in 1989, we didn't have internet. Okay, when I started my business, I didn't have internet. I didn't have free access to information like we have now in Google or YouTube. Okay, you can actually learn how to build a rocket ship now on YouTube by yourself if you have the time, right? And then we don't have podcasts like people like you sharing information. I always say somebody who's really stupid, only a stupid person will only learn from their own experience. Smart people learn from other people's experiences, other people's failure as well as their successes. So, today things are so much simpler. Like you have everything you want in running a business is basically free. Like your Google Calendar is either free or like $10 a month. That's basically free. A lot of information you might have to run through, kind of sift through information, but a lot of crazy information is out there on the internet. And then if you're listening to podcasts like mine, I mean, I bring amazing guests every single week. I believe it or not, I only have 26 guests a year, because it's a weekly show, and then every other episode is me to them. So there's only 26 guests. So you can imagine, I don't put on everybody. I only put on people that's relevant to my audience, who's really focused on transformation. They're going, because I believe that information is free. So why should I have another podcast talking to them about information? People are willing to pay for transformation. They're not willing to pay for free information. So, that's why I'm kind of focused on transformation. So when you go and check out Bimal's site, it is full of the tools, all the tools you need. They'll involve, simple tools, big tools. You can, utilize all the freebies, all you want, like you do on my site, on how to scale your business, basically how to work fewer hours with less resources and make more, because you're going to be more efficient and more effective to your target audience. And and then of course if you want to work with it, I'm sure you guys have a bunch of different programs you can plug into. And you do have a community of people, do you, or do you not?
Absolutely. It's a pioneers community, and you can connect with other pioneers. So my whole mission of making a million pioneers is that I want to build a community of people that connect with each other and help them scale. And when you ask about managing people, I have a whole system of building culture, structure, building an optimal day for everyone, and accountability, which is big in many companies because they don't have these systems. I already have these all set up. So it's all plug and play for many of the companies, because I built all of these things. As I work with companies, one of the things I do, if it's a problem for one, it's a problem for many. So whatever
absolutely. Yeah. And you know what? The other thing too is a lot of the things that are in a bigger company, for example, like a bunch of employees, office politics, all of that stuff, happens to you when you're a small business. You got 4 people, you got management problems, trust me, unless you actually know how to manage. So that's a huge thing. In terms of community, I want to tell you, and if you're listening to me week after week, that I'm a huge believer in collaboration. I mean, even if you're in the same business and you see your competitor as, somebody who's evil or somebody you need to get rid of, I mean, try to find ways to collaborate with anybody you can. So when anybody, like some Bimal's or anybody else's, when they have a community of people, you can find somebody you can collaborate with, you can learn from, you can lift, you can impact, and who can, help you transform your business. And in terms, and I'm glad that you started the interview with the fact that, instead of looking for money or anything, look for impact, what impact you have on other people's lives. Entrepreneurs, and I know this has probably become very clear to all of you who are listening, that the only way an entrepreneur makes money is if you add value to somebody else's life. Long term, that's the only way you're going to make money. And so that word impact is huge. And, and I think that I happen to be Asian. In Asian countries, we look at more than money, more than anything. When you die, the thing you want to look at is what legacy you leave behind. And while you're building your career, building your dream business, if you have a chance to leave that impact, even if it's, in front of you, like the 50 people that that's huge. So I would say that, learn everything you can. And I love the word, and I know we've talked about scaling, growing your business. This is something that we all dream of. Bimal comes to us with a lot of experience on how to do it himself. And then also he shared it with, thousands of other people as well. So Bimal, if you, as we close this interview, if you can give one piece of advice that you have not shared so far here, what would it be to a young entrepreneur starting today with?
I'll give 3. And I have a saying: a journey of 1 billion miles begins with 3 steps.
Okay.
So you've heard the journey of 1,000 miles begins with 1. So I'll give 3. So number 1, always dream big. Don't cut yourself short. Think about your dreams and have it clearly spelled out. It's a vivid vision where you're detailing everything. And that's what the first book is all about, building a very detailed, vivid vision, including, what visual you see of your building, your office, your people, your team, everything. It's very, very thoroughly detailed. Number 2, you need to hire right. You cannot do everything yourself. So in that hiring right, you don't need to necessarily mean that you have to put employees on payroll. You have to bring employees. Right. We live in a world where we can collaborate and work with people.
Freelance, all kinds
of stuff is possible. So you don't have to necessarily take the word hire means I have to have employees. Yeah. It means that you look for resources that you can get done elsewhere. And number 3 is, you need to have proper messaging and marketing. I mean, you absolutely, people need to know who you are, what you do. You need to hire right and you need to market right. So you need to be in the right market with the right message. And you need to have at least 7 touch points with any ideal customer that you're chasing, at a minimum. Ideally it would be 25, but I would say.
You're kind, because I teach people 25. So how can they get a hold of you and find your books and everything?
So on Amazon, they can search Becoming a Pioneer, or they can go, if they buy the book, they join the club, bit.ly, the Pioneers Club, or they can go to my website, the oneyearbreakthrough.com. And I also have a website called bimalshahauthor.com. So either one, any of these places, you'll be able to access many of the resources, but I'll just share, I have built a whole system. This 13 books was there for a reason. It's not to write many books, but it's for my mission is that to leave behind a system that people can use 10 years from today, 20 years from today, 50 years from today, to keep using that over and over again to scale themselves. And this 13 books is a whole system, step by step, week by week, to help them achieve their 3-year goal in 1 year.
Okay, well, thank you so much for coming on this show. And thank you so much for listening to this show as well, for those of you who are in the audience. And please stay healthy and happy. And remember, happiness is a choice. And I wish you a great week where you're making great choices. And until next time, bye.
You've been listening to $1 Million Passion, where we turn dreams into reality and passion into profit. According to ancient Chinese proverb, a journey of 1,000 miles begins with a single step. Congratulations on taking that first step today. For more information on how Victoria can help you turn your business idea into $1 million and to download Victoria's free ebook on passion-based business ideas, visit $1,000,000passion.com. Don't forget to subscribe, rate, and review the show on your favorite podcast player.